We are going to be making Japanese Notan drawings, and Notan is a Japanese word for light and dark. And so the idea is we're going to be creating a square that has a pattern and drawing it out and then tracing it on another piece of paper. And you can kind of pick and choose where you put it. But some of the sections, the negative background is going to be black, and the objects are going to be white. And then in others, the positive space, which is the actual objects, are going to be black, and then the background is going to be white. And then you alternate back and forth. Here's another one that turned out kind of cool. This is a larger one, but the idea is this one was 4 squares and the other one was smaller. You can decide what size square that you would like to make to be able to do this. So the idea is you will start with a piece of paper and you will mark off a size square that you would like. So depending on the size paper that you're going to use, you're probably going to want to make sure that it fits onto the paper correctly. So like if you could have 4 of them or 6, you could even have more than that if you want. Now the idea is you're going to do some type of drawing that is going to be something that's somewhat simple, but can be definitely done in just black and white. So I could just come up with some ideas here. I could do some curves. Now, one of the interesting things about Notan drawings is when these are cut out, they're going to be flipped so that the other part, it's like seeing a mirror image of whatever it is you had on here. So whatever you have here, usually you want to have it open on one of the edges. It will make it a lot easier to be able to see the design when you go to the next part. I could do other sections in here if I wanted to. I could do, things that curl. A lot of times, because you are tracing this, you're not going to want to go too crazy with the pattern, but you're going to want to make sure that you have a detailed design so there's not a lot of background. If there is, sometimes the coloring can get kind of crazy and it can be kind of difficult to fill in. So I could do like this. I could do different sections in the corner, but basically so the design is filled up. Once you're done, you're going to take and you're going to outline it in Sharpie. So say I have this all outlined in Sharpie. The reason being is because you're going to be tracing this, and it's really hard sometimes to trace, especially when it's in paper. Once you're done, you're going to take and you're going to cut it out. So you're going to cut out the square. So like this one over here is where I cut out the square, and this is the pattern that I had. What you'll do then is you'll go and you'll find whatever size paper that you'd like to use, and you're going to put it behind it. I don't know if you can see it very well here, but anyway, what you can do is you can hold it up to a window, and you're going to go through and you're going to trace your pattern. So I'd go through and I'd trace, all through my pattern, and then when I've done with one, to get it to match up, I can either flip this over because you can still see it from behind. I could keep it the same direction so that they match up. The idea is on this one, I actually took this pattern, and then when I went to the bottom, I flipped it so that you have the mirror image of it. Now, on another one, I decided to do a smaller one. So this is the one that I had showed you before, so I did it of snowflakes, so you see partial snowflakes. The idea, though, is that when they're put together, if I flip it like this, or if I flip it like this, and you can see through it, it makes the rest of the snowflake. And so the idea behind it is you can kind of pick and choose which parts. So like this one, I did all 4, and then on this one, I just did 3. This one, I just did 1. And so you can make it so it makes it kind of your own cool pattern. Once you have it done, then you're going to kind of figure out what you want to have as the light section and the dark section. And the way I look at it is if you think of like a black and white checkered floor, you want to make sure that 2 of the black sections don't touch and 2 of the white sections don't touch. So otherwise you're not going to be able to see your pattern as well. So because I have these 2 sections black and these 2 sections white, then what I would do is, so this one obviously the object is black, so then this one, the background would be black. And so I would take, Sharpies work the best. If you want to use something other than a Sharpie, you can definitely do that, but make sure that you have a really good marker for it because there is a lot of coloring involved. Now on this one, after I did this one and I decided I really liked it, I decided, whoa, that's a lot of pattern going on. Like that's a really big section. So I can decide and make it smaller if I want. I could make it long and skinny, however you think the pattern would look the best. So on this one, what I would do is I would just go around my drawing, and then I would start to fill in the background. Now, one of the things you're going to keep in mind is it's really easy to make a mistake, and color the wrong section. So you want to kind of take your time and go through and do this. If you don't want to use black and white, you can use a different colored marker. Some people like to use different colored markers for each section. It's completely up to you. So if you don't want to do black and white, just as long as you have a good high contrast, so something with the white color. So, you know, you could use blue, red, green, you know, whatever color markers you have. And then obviously you would color it in. So this one I would color in the whole background, and I would leave the snowflake white. Then on this one, what I would do is I would actually go in, and in that line here, I'm going to color in the snowflake in this next square. I'm going to color that one in black so that you have that high contrast, and you can see that it's actually, you know, the pattern of a snowflake, and that it is opposite from the other square. The cool part is in the end of it, you're going to have this really fun kind of high contrast, very simplified looking drawing, which actually isn't all that simple to begin with. Now, just make sure though, like I said, like on these, you don't leave a ton of open space for the black or the white, just because it's a lot of extra coloring that you don't need to do. So you want to make sure that your pattern that you originally have is very filled in, so that there's not a lot of open space. One of the other ones that I made, which I haven't tried yet, is something with lines. So it has a little bit more filled in. And the pattern, like I said, that I made up, or you can look up, I found pictures of snowflakes online. So if there's anything in particular that you'd like to do, then you can definitely try it out. The requirement though is you need to have at least created at least one of the Notans, and you have to have it traced at least 4 times. And then you have the black and the white. And so 4 times being like taking up a paper. So it could be like big like this. So it's really kind of bold and a little bit more simplified, or it can be a smaller, more detailed one.